to master's feet. So quick, so we wanna go. Oh, Luke and Simeon, Levi, Judah and Zebulun, Isaac, God and Asher.
Ever part of Dominica, you are joining us from, a pleasant good evening to you, and welcome to Roots Connections on Q. I am your host, Simone Mathieu. It is great to be back with you for another 2 hours of programming as we continue our Roots Connections program right here on the big station, Q95. So if you're joining us on the Facebook Live, come on in, join us, post a message, let us know that you are with us. So, again, good evening and welcome. This is episode number 27 of Roots Connections on Q for today, June 22nd, 2022. And I am your host, Simone Mathieu. And we continue to keep Kernisha in our prayers. Unfortunately, the one person who knew for sure where she most likely was is no longer with us. So we continue to keep her in our prayers. But we also have to look at the underlying issues of protecting our most valuable, our most precious human resources, our children and our young people. We hear the murder rate is going up. We also see the cases of child abuse in Dominica, as well as now this most recent case with Kanisha, which begs the question, what are we doing about mental health in Dominica? So that is what we are here to talk about this evening. We're looking at recommendations, we're looking at solutions. Where do we go from here? That is usually a question I ask towards the end of the program, but it is so vital to what we're experiencing today that is where we're going to start the conversation this evening. But before we do, let us say good evening to Dr. Triphi, Dr. Margaret Wallace. And I think we saw Tad. Did we see Tad come in? So hopefully Tad will be joining us in just 1 minute, and then we should also be having Flacco joining us at some point this evening. So let us start with Dr. Triphi, who is joining us from Atlanta, a very busy lady with her own practice in Atlanta, but someone who has over the last 2 years been an active part of the Push Past 10 platform, always willing to talk to us about on mental health issue topics, always ready to provide recommendations, and most importantly, always ready to put the information into a language that we can digest, we can process, because she's from Dominica. So she knows our experiences, she knows our culture, she knows where we come from. So Dr. Margaret Wallace, welcome to the program. And Tad, you're just joining us. Just go ahead and mute your mic for 1 second until you introduce yourself. Dr. Wallace?
Thank you, Dr. Simone. Everybody, good night. I am Dr. Wallace. The people know me as Tonton and Triphinia and Triphi. And I'm a licensed psychologist in Atlanta. I'm also a licensed professional counselor. I'm also a hypnotherapist. That just means I do a lot of mental health work. And I've been doing this for the past 26 years. I right now do a lot of work with Department of Juvenile Justice, Department of Family and Children's Services, doing a lot of work to get children back to their families of origin. So I see the need. I see the need. I think Kanisha's story, as we continue to pray for her safe return and pray for miracles, I see the need. And I am very happy to be here to support what we're talking about tonight.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Wallace. Thank you for being here. Mr. Thaddeus James, great to have you on the program. Most of us know Thaddeus for being a very outspoken, patriotic Dominica with his Facebook Live programs just about every day, just giving us a different perspective on the issues that impact and affect Dominica. So, Tad, thank you for being very outspoken and just give us a brief introduction of who you are. Unmute your mic. Oh, you muted yourself again.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, good evening, ladies on the panel, and good evening, Dominicans, by extension in diaspora and in Dominica. Yeah, I'm Thaddeus James, originally from Kingsville, Dominica. I'm out here in the US as a general contractor right now in Chicago. And yeah, I'm just who I am, a concerned citizen, trying to make contributions in whatever way I can, be it through criticism, with recommendations, but just trying to put that energy out there for
Mm-hmm.
the right environment for my fellow islanders to thrive and prosper in. Basically, that's it. You know. But
Yes,
everybody
yes,
know me. I go by the name of Black Pepper, so I guess everybody know me by
yes.
now. Who did
A
not?
very
Yeah,
interesting
it's Black
name,
Pepper
Pat.
tonight. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes. So thank you, Tad, and thank you, Dr. Wallace, for being here to share with us on this very important topic. And don't forget, we are live on Facebook at Q95 FM Radio, as well as Push Past 10. And we're also live on YouTube at Q95 Radio. So if you're just joining us, as the murder rate of our young men in Dominica continues to rise, and with the recent kidnapping of Kanisha Etienne, as well as all the cases of child abuse we're hearing in Dominica, we are here to ask the question: how are we securing the future, the human resources of Dominica, the most precious of our human resources, our children and our young people? So as we get into the conversation, I want to say good evening to Mr. G and the Q95 family, both here and overseas. We also want to say good evening to everyone who's listening to us, as well as those who are joining us via social media. And thank you, Sherwin, for keeping us connected. Don't forget, you can always jump on q95da.com for the best in programming, as well as any episodes of your favorite programs you may have missed along the way. For example, our last episode of Roots Connections, we talked about sustainable development. What is the price to the environment as we continue to develop Dominica? So for the best in programming, as well as any missed episodes, you want to head on over to q95.com. So Dr. Wallace and Tad, we've heard all the theories of what may have happened to Kanisha. But before we get into that discussion, let us have a conversation of what we're seeing with our young men. And I was hoping to have Tyrone Flacco with us this evening so he could speak to us about what he's observing on the ground in Dominica. But just based on what you have heard, what you have observed, it is now June and we've already had about 10 murders. Tad, as a young man who grew up in Dominica, what do you think has changed? Because when we grew up in Dominica, murders were very scarce. So in your observations, Tad, what do you think is going on with our young men in this country?
Well, in a nutshell, of the top, independence and confidence, self-confidence. Off the top, that's basically where everything, stems from. Being very independent and confident. They go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
And by independence, you know how deep the conversation can go when I say or refer to someone as an independent person, meaning they are able to take care of themselves morally, socially, religiously, financially, and just be a model for society, and also be able to be impactful and be part of community development, etc., etc. So it's a very deep roof I put on there already. If you take jump from the roof, we can go real deep into that topic, you know? So basically, in a nutshell, that's what it is. And I literally sit back daily and observe. I communicate a lot. I'm not in Dominica, but I'm very much on the ground.
Yes. You're with us?
It, that's why I speak on Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
because, like I always say, I'm in the right avenue between love and hate, between this current generation, how they apply themselves. And I came from a generation where independence was thriving and everybody had a say in society.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see I'm part of observing young men getting transition out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And that is where it starts. That's where
Absolutely.
it starts. It's deep, it's sensitive, but that's where it starts.
Mm-hmm. And Dr. Wallace, as I come over to you, I think as we see the cases rising, we're looking for quick fixes. We're always looking for quick fixes. Let's just fix this. Let's just fix this. But, as Tad has already alluded to, it goes beyond just the surface murders. We have to look at the deeper issues, that the frustrations that these young men are experiencing. So what, in your professional opinion, Doc, do you think is at the root cause of this just senseless killing? It seems like there's no value on human life with some of our young men these days.
Yeah. I want to start off by saying we are not special. We are not special. We are not unique in that we're alive. And as time progresses, you know how they used to say back in the day, well, old people say, temps fait temps, temps quitte temps. Time leaves time. So we shift, we change, we become different things. Sometimes it's for the better, sometimes it's for the worse. But we are unique. We are unique because what Tad just said there is that is not common for us. It used to be that we could say, this is not happening in Dominica. It's happening over there.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have that like that in Dominica. And we were unique in that. So we have lost the uniqueness. And what I heard him say, which I agree with, and tonight for some of the conversation, I'm trying to be a psychologist to serve. I'm trying to talk like highfalutin language. What he said is that feeling of independence and connection and being a part of the system, a lot of the youth are feeling marginalized from that. They're on the outskirts of that circle of, am I a part of the unit, of the collective? No, I am not in the group. So I'm over there, walking, grabbing chain from people in the middle of the day. I am not feeling connected. If I'm feeling connected to my community, trust me, I'm not walking up to a lady in the middle of the day and walking her chain.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of pain that is now manifesting into action. And the thing is, it's not just a little action, because everything goes from a scale of 0 to 100. 0 is like, hey, I'm upset, I'm feeling a little irritated, things not going my way. But murder is the ultimate FU.
Mm-hmm.
It's the ultimate FU. I don't care about you. You don't care about me. I don't care about anything but what I want right now, or what I think I want right now. And so when you have that level of breakdown, for us, it's a breakdown. Again, we're not unique because other people have been living through this and experiencing this, but we are unique because for us, it is beyond our imagination. Okay? When you have that, you cannot turn your face away from it. You cannot turn your face away from it. You got to look at it. We have to look at it. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt all of us. It's hurting all of us already. Okay? But we have to look at it to fix it.
Yeah, and I'm happy you made that point. And this is a question both for you and Tad as well, because I think it boils down to economic empowerment. Many of these young men, they have no jobs, they have no prospects for job. I saw on Facebook recently one young man crying out for a job. His girlfriend is now pregnant, and he once had a job, now he has no job, and he has a child on the way that he has to support. Right? So in my mind, it boils down to the economics of it. So what do you say, Tad and Doc, to folks that say, well, there are opportunities out there and young people just have to make the opportunities for themselves to create their own financial independence? What are your thoughts on that, Tad?
Yeah, well, I am very happy you used that one example in regards to the young man who said he's expecting a baby pretty soon. So as a result, he's seeking employment so he can take care of his child.
Mhm.
There's a story before that. He's responsible to know that he has to go work to take care of his child. But for some reason, he was irresponsible enough to get the girl pregnant, and then now he possesses his responsibility after that fact. So let's step one step back. You know why he got the girl pregnant? In my opinion,
Mm.
that was his form of morally securing the woman.
Mm.
You know why?
Mm.
Because of the challenges outside there where he's going to his social support, the one little social support that he has, emotional support that he has, is under threat. And by any means necessary, it means something to him. Maybe that's what keeps his sanity.
Mhm.
That's what keeps him together. That's what gives him hope. Just that one immediate contact or affiliate, his girlfriend. Your environment on a norm, your social environment, your economical environment should give you that under normal circumstances. But like I say, in the absence of that, you see what happens?
Mhm.
You see how people look to fence to keep the little they have, even going about it the wrong way and the risk and the challenges. They process the challenges after. What he knows that his woman with his baby, she's going to depend on him, so she has a reason to stay there still.
Mhm.
That's a story before the response of getting a job. And that's where your social system is
Yeah, I think he froze for a minute.
broken. That's where your economical system is broken. You see how the rivers in a house?
Mhm.
Yeah, so you see how it came right back into the house for it to get its own little world of structure.
Mhm.
You have to pay attention to sequence. It's very important. Sometimes we bring up topics and there's a void. And if you address some topics, there's that preliminary and essential part of it as to, I always ask the question, how did he get there? Or how
Mhm.
did they get there? Or why did that happen first? You
Mhm.
understand?
Right.
And in my perspective, just what I told you, that's where it starts.
Mhm.
So I feel the convention should start right there and we will build from that because that's critical. And I'm glad we have a psychologist on board
Yes.
who can even enlighten me and you with a professional perspective surrounding
Yeah, let's
that.
come to yeah.
Where? And she felt that place where I was going. So, yeah, I would like her to contribute from a professional perspective to that.
Yes, and I want her to as well because Dr. Triphi, I saw that you did a
Yeah,
Facebook
Miss Paul.
Live and you just let the young man have it. You just kept it real and you just put the information out there. So just kind of tell us your views on that topic.
He's right. We've got to get to the source. You got to get, if you have a problem, you can't, you can try to start at the top if you want, but that's not efficient. Because what if you didn't handle the root? You've got to go to the root. So let's backtrack. Young people, just biologically, their brain is not yet completely developed till about 25. And then you have these neurotransmitters. The big one is called dopamine, right? Teenagers, young people take more risks in general than adults. I bet you there are some adults right now, they look back on the stuff they did when they were teenagers, young people, they're like, boy, I was like Asa saying, right? Boy, I was foolish, boy. It's not just that. It's not just I was foolish. My brain was seeking after dopamine, which is high intensity, action, a rush, right? Rush, high energy. That's actually one of the most creative times of young people's lives, that little span of time, 17, 18 to like 28, 29. You're juiced up. You're producing so much testosterone. Okay? Reverse even further. How does a young man come to be where he does not have the support of, say, family behind him? Who birthed him? What was his family structure like? What are we doing in the beginning when we meet one another on the street and we choose to connect? And we choose to connect, right? We do all of that without planning. So you have this young man, yes, he's got a situation right now. Go back into his beginning, into his root. Did he have the support he needed? Was the couple making proper choices about what kind of relationship they're going to have? We're going to get married? Who raised him? Who supported him? Who trained him? The schools. I'm going to talk about some of the problems, I think, and some of the recommendations, because there are many things we used to do and experience as kids that this generation did not. I'm talking about things like civics classes, which is about character development, moral development, where if you didn't get it at your home, every Friday in school, you getting it somewhere, right? You would work through real life problems, go through proverbs, all kinds of things to help you think critically about life and how you could contribute to life. When we just remove these things from the educational system and we put it just on the bare bones of math, English, reading, whatever, curriculum, whatever, that's incomplete. That's an incomplete education of a human being. So you leave the human being stranded. You leave them stranded. And you leave him stranded in a time of his life where he's more likely to take risks. And he's also more likely to join groups. And the peer pressure, the power of the group, of his mates, becomes more important than what mother has to say, father has to say, grandfather has to say. It's just biology. What we have to do is put a net around our young people and prepare them for that stage of life. Prepare them for that stage of life. We had a lot of that preparation. They don't get it.
And I like how you mentioned the home, and I also like how Tad mentioned going back to the source of the problem, because it does begin in the home. I had this young man, Zidane, on the program maybe 2 programs ago, and he said he could have gone the wrong route. But he lived in a home where his mother was a teacher. She was very structured, and you don't have to be a teacher to have disciplined children. But you know the influences that are out there. So what are you doing to be a counter influence so that your children do not follow the wrong pair? And Todd, I want to come back to you, because the other thing I think we're not talking about at all in Dominica is the gang culture. There are gangs in Dominica, and now being on the ground here, I am learning that in fact there are gangs. And so, why are we not having a conversation about the gangs in Dominica? Why aren't we studying what is going on? There might be some sort of rivalry between gangs. Do we know that, the eighth young man was from one gang, and then the ninth murder was a retaliation, and so the 10th murder is another retaliation? And when does it end? So, do you have any information, Tad, on the gang culture in Dominica?
Well, when you say information, what do you mean? You ask me that like a police boy.
I promise you, I'm not
So
intimidating you.
is that no correct? Yeah, no. You see that is a sensitive thing, but we have to take it in chronological order, so to speak. We have to take it in phases. What you know as gang is not fully matured in Dominica yet. I live
Mm,
in Chicago. I know about gang. You understand?
mhm,
What is happening in Dominica right now is the, the gang concept, the platform is building as to brotherhood. They don't know their purpose yet. What they're in clusters building brotherhood. One looks at the next to gain status, to gain comfort, to gain respect from each other, to get a sense of place out of the house. Not the home. There's no home. The house. There's a difference between home and house.
yes.
There's no home. That's how they do. They're out the house. And their peers, they're being embraced by their prayers, by their peers. Now it's very critical when you've been embraced by your peers, you have to give your peers confidence in you in terms of your attitude, your manliness. Whatever they do, you're supposed to support. When I do, they look for your support. That's the platform of building. There is no solidified economical attachment to the gang culture home like Chicago. The gang culture in Chicago, the States, generally is stems from a narcotics base with a big economy behind it. There's value, there's purpose, and it's all about keeping the money coming to whatever illegal means that they embrace to thrive on. In Dominica, it is not that. It's trickling in. That's why I'm telling you the platform of just the brotherhood. And then in the brotherhood, you will find grievances being put on the table. And then you'll find the development of an economical circle to hold on the brotherhood and make them feel independent in the house, not the home.
Mhm.
There's no home. You know what a home is. The psychologist knows what a home is. And I guess you'll maybe expound on qualities coming from a home, from a professional perspective. So what is happening in Dominica is that you find a lot of guys hanging out with each other in local palace, down the block, CO, dress, and they're challenged with trying to match up with each other in terms of attire, in terms of now this they want to have a certain money in their pocket, they want to have a certain quantity of girls, they want to have a bike. Now they get into the materialistic aspect of the gang culture embracement. Now that takes now a financial support to get there.
Mhm.
But they're not organized, not under narcotics. They're not organized, not under narcotics. Trust me. As a result, you're going to find a lot of young men engaged in robbery. Quick money, take it now so that they can service their purpose within their cluster. You get where I'm going.
Yes.
So that's where we are now. Once they get confidence that that system of financial sustenance works, that's when they're going to Mature. They're growing while they're getting into that. So they're getting more wise. They're getting more responsible too within that same culture. And now the responsibility is they're going to be tested by the superiors, those who control the narcotics trade in Dominica, because in Dominica is not a thing you can play with. So they don't tend to put 2 kilos of coke in a little boy's hand. You have to man up and show your value first. There's nobody to overlook you like, no, you're on your own, you have to report back to base. That's going to get there very soon, based on the momentum I'm seeing and based on the purpose people figure they have. The only one purpose they're exposed to socially, there's nothing to counteract getting a different type of purpose out of yourself. Systematically, we are broken. You turn left, turn right, there's nothing. There's no option. And if options are not created, they're going to dive in that deeper and call that the one way forward in life. And when you get dependent on it and it works, they're going to stay there confidently. Nothing going to break them then. They are now drug men. They will build, they will buy cars, they will make more babies, there are 5 women. That's going to work, they're going to embrace it, and it's going to become the norm. We're not all the way there. We have always had narcotics trade, don't get me wrong. I'm talking about at a magnitude where we will register globally as that type of society. We're not registering globally as that type of society yet, trust me. It's a limited few controlling the narcotics trade in Dominica at a quantity, and that's why you find a lot of them do a lot of business out of Dominica. It's like a transit. The confidence for making it work at home and let them do their connections is minimal, but it's growing. I saw guys like the guy they shot on the beat front. When I left Dominica, I was a little boy. I come up here, I see the guy wheeling up and down, and you can see him game next level in that little time, 13 years, and I see it happen right in front of my eyes. And I'm young. I'm very young, if you know what I mean. So I still feel there's a lot more of that same 13-year cycle I'm going to have a chance to see. The problem is my next 13-year cycle, what exactly is that cycle going to entail compared to the last 13-year cycle? And I watch the momentum of what happened in 13 years. That's why I'm telling you, it's picking up momentum and it's going to get there, and I'm going to see another cycle of it. Mathieu. If that's just off the board, it can be stopped, it can be controlled, it can be minimized. System has to pay attention. There must be people in the system just monitoring that social aspect of Dominica for us to know. I say us, we are the government. All of us have a responsibility, not just the Prime Minister, All of us have our part to play and embrace. When the Prime Minister puts certain things forward, we have a right to promote what is good, embrace, and try to make everybody have a collective approach to assisting the Prime Minister in his ethics of development. If their ethics are on the table for development. So once anything like that is laid out, we become the support system for it. Now, let's examine the support system of Dominica. Do you think, well, I think the support system of Dominica is weak. We are distracted trying to get gold out of stone because your stability economically is nowhere close in sight. Everybody's just distracted, digging like Totty all over the place to make ends meet. We are distracted from the common economical purpose because it's not there. You have to fend for yourself. I didn't say that. You heard ministers of government say you have to shake your pampa lamb. That's a deep statement, and that's a real statement. Pampa lamb don't just mean what we mean, It means you really have to wiggle on your own accord. Whatever it takes. That's not their business. Whatever it takes. Because we have nothing to offer. So your pampa lamb have to work in one way or another because there's nothing on the table I can present you to not make that statement to you. I didn't say that. I'm just chopping it up.
Yeah, and Tad, I'm
That's the
happy that
reality.
you,
It is
yeah,
facing.
I'm happy that you're raising these points because I think what you are leaning towards, and Dr. Triphi, it begs the question: do we have an emerging problem on our hands that we are not paying attention to? Because I think Tad did an excellent job of presenting what is going on right now with the gangs. So is it going to evolve where it's going to create a problem? And I also think he's raising a great point because as humans, we need to belong.
Yeah.
So if you're growing up in a house and not a home, like Tad just said, tell us the distinction
Look,
between
this is
growing
a
up in the support of a home as opposed to growing up in a house, and how that lack of belongingness can take our young men out of the home to find that belongingness somewhere else in a gang.
this is such a multifaceted problem. And because it's like like a snake or a dragon with how many horns, it is going to be a beast to tackle. And so, for real, if we don't start now, the next 13 years, we won't want to go to Dominica. Those of us who have been longing to return home. A home is what I was talking about yesterday. Fellas, I'm not sure who taught this to the young, to our young men. Somebody taught or did not teach. I'm saying this falls at our feet, our generation of parents. We did not do a proper job raising, and we did not do a proper job teaching our children how to build their families. I'm telling you, I had a young girl, she's in her 30s. 30s, you would think progressive, moving forward. She's telling me a young man says to her, make a child for me.
What?
I
Just
want you
like
to
that?
make a child for me. And proceeds to say, um, well, I don't know if we'll be boyfriend and girlfriend. Eventually we might. Depending on how things go, we might. This is 2022. This is 2022. My thing is, well, where did that young man get this orientation? Where did they get this way of thinking? Right? Kids belong with parents, both parents. Back in the day, one of the reasons a lot of us didn't go so far is because even when some of our parents didn't marry, we used to call that they stayed in house. They would live together for many years. And even beyond that, the community outside of the family supported the family. So everybody was checking everybody. We have lost that. I don't think we've lost it. We've given it up. We've surrendered it. We haven't lost it. We've chosen not to raise each other's children anymore. We've moved to a more individualistic, I will handle my own, you handle your own. But that is against our essence. It's going to stink. It's not going to work. It's not going to work for us because we are a people of kudme, of community, of support, of groups. So when you try to bring that individualist kind of template on Dominica, you're going to leave a lot of people stranded. You're going to leave a lot of people stranded. A young man needs to be nurtured by other men. I know a lot of people like to tell me this madness. Oh, a lot of people were raised by their mother alone. I understand that. Is that the ideal? That's what you're aiming for right now? Is that the ideal? It cannot be the ideal. It is not the ideal that nature set up. Nature didn't set it up that way. So we're going to have problems when we raise kids in houses, hand to hand to hand to hand. Go by your auntie, stay there. I go in Guadeloupe, I coming back. I might not come back. I'll send you $50. Other people, and you have this patchy connections with the people who are supposed to be your examples of God, Usam, your parents. So we lose our natural affection because we weren't taught it. They're not being taught. They're not being taught. And worst of all, back in the day, if you came from a family where you didn't have that, you went to school and you learned it. You went to school and there was civics education and you learned it. Okay? So there are many things we can do. There are many things we can do to pull this stuff back. I mean, the stuff wasn't broken. I'm not sure why we were trying to fix it. We're having many of our young men come out of high school and talk about being able to create money and take care of yourself and your family. They leave high school, and just because they didn't get to do the college route, they basically have nothing. They have no other options. What are the other options? Some of them, if they have enough support, might get the push. Hey, go do a trade, do a this, do a that. The community has to make those things more visible and more attractive as options for young men so people can make their money. Somebody asked me, well, how am I going to create a business? How am I going to do something if nobody has money? Trust me, we have money, because when it's CWO time, we have money. It's where we're applying the money. You see, it's where we're applying the money. Many of our young people, why would they not be creative? We are all divine. All of us come from the same maker, All of us come from the same maker. So all of us have our unique creativity and gifts we came to share with the planet. We landed on Dominica, so it's Dominica that has to get it. But when those gifts are not being nurtured, they're not being identified, they're not being shined, refined, they go dormant. And when you see you have a dream and wishes inside of you like this creativity, and it cannot get an outlet, it morphs into ugly, ugly, ugly stuff. The problem is we're watching it happen. It's like we're watching a car about to go over a falaise, and we're like, let them figure it out. Let them reverse the car. No, this is a community problem. It's a social problem and it has many pieces. So it's not the government alone, like Thaddeus says. It's not you alone, Simone. It's not me alone. It's not the teachers alone. It's not the police alone. It's not the mental health system alone. But it's all of that. And where we are weak, we have to strengthen it. Where we are weak, we have to be able to take a little bit of common sense advice, because it's fools that don't take good advice. And one person cannot see everything. You have experts and specialists for a reason. I can't fix my car. I cannot fix my car. But you can sit with me for 45 minutes and I can tell you, this is wrong with you. You need to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you will be able to get back on your feet. Get back to work. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So we have to learn as community to use each other's resources, including these young fellas. We talk, Thaddeus talked about this stuff is morphing. It's growing. By now, if it has not yet been done, all you do to neutralize a system like this is connect to the alpha, connect to the head and the heads, whoever the heads are. Okay, call the generals in and have a conversation, general to general, and figure out what is going on. Mm-hmm. We are not that big that we cannot do these things. To ignore it means we have a problem we're creating in society by refusing to address it. That's going to be the bane of our existence if we don't do anything about it.
Right. And I so agree. But Ted, why is this only impacting our young men? Because young women in Dominica are equally disadvantaged with lack of employment.
No. But let me get, you see, that's what you don't know. A lot of, like I said, I'm very well connected. Mm-hmm. You know what's happening on the female side. Embracing that type of culture from the men. And you know how they embrace it?
Mm.
They embrace it. It's picking up a big trend in Dominica. I'll be very honest and open about it, with a less calculative mind. And how does the mind become less calculative? How does that individual become less responsible with their actions? A lot of teenagers, ladies and gentlemen, the pills popping in Dominica is a big thing now. And the
Really?
majority of pill poppers are the females. Yes, ma'am. Ecstasy and all those pills for SIWO is a big thing. I never heard it a conversation on the radio. And I am telling you that. I'm not asking you. So you don't know and you're wondering why are the women tolerating the men? They're not doing it on the normal calculated minds. Whenever they step out of the house, they have to put themselves in a different frame of mind to be able to embrace that type of culture. They pop in pills like black is white. I'm not asking you, huh? I'm not asking you. I had a 15-minute conversation today with a pill seller in Dominica. And I'm not asking you. He tell me straight, Pepper, I don't need to touch cocaine. I'm making more money on that than I used to make on my packs I used to sell it. I'm not asking you. Live from a dealer. That's how I get my intelligence. I didn't just take it and go, you know. You don't have to do my little work with the guy. First thing he tell me, Pepper, but what did happen? Consider nothing. That's what his words there. Pepper, they consider nothing. That's a fast, easy money. Nobody hustling you, harassing you for that. That looking like medication in a bottle is no big concealment about it, nothing. I'm making how much? $100 in a weekend. Quick, 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 quick. I'm telling you. So that is the other accepting point of what is soon to be fully matured. So they're not challenged where they're going up on a female and a female say, put yourself in order, Bugasa. Go and get a job. I don't go nothing, nobody on this and that and that and that. For next thing, I buy garage and I get shoot up. You're not hearing that. They will sit down by garage and drink to under a different type of influence. Is a big creeping thing in Dominica. You didn't know. I'm telling you now. I'm
I
not
didn't know.
asking you. And we have to take point. Win problem, eh? The kind of information I have. Well, yeah, I don't know now. I don't know.
Hmm. Well, that is certainly
And the
very
problem is
appetizing
I'm
information.
calculating the problem. Yeah, because I'm calculating the problem, not because it happens all across the world, you know. I am factoring it down to per capita based on our population. That is the that's 50 something thousand people. That is what frightening me, you know.
Hmm.
When I hear this one, that one, I can go on Facebook and just tick them. Tick, 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 tick. I say, but who left now? But who left? Who's there left that is straight? But you have to search. It's like a hidden in a stack. In a haystack now. Real talk.
Hmm. Yeah, so Dr. Triphi, the
Right?
same way we are now seeing the tail end of the mental health crisis, because I think that is what we are seeing now with the abduction, because we've never had a case like that before. So I want to go into talking about the men, and it's a crisis. It's a crisis because there's so many people who need help that are not getting the help, and now it has led to the disappearance of Kanisha. But I think what Tad is showing us is that we have another potential crisis right on the horizon. And the same way we were not paying attention in the beginning to mental health issues, it's the same way we're not paying attention to the gang culture, the drug culture, whatever other illicit cultures that are going on in Dominica. And like Chad said, in the next 13 years, what are we going to have on our hands? But before we get into that conversation, we have quite an audience on Facebook. So let us take a minute to acknowledge them. David Johnson, great to see you. Mary Benjamin, Cal Kofi James, the brother of Tad James, I might add. Thank you for being here. Saran John Charles is here. Dorian, Dorival, Farah, good evening to you. Gerald Dorset, good evening to you. Marina, Michael Alexis, Andy Washington, Nixon Peer, Toya Joseph, Algie Estrada, Matilda Jolly, Sabria Senhouse, my sister, she says, good point. The educational system is geared at passing exams and not preparing our young people for life. Ginger, Toya, let's see here, Charlotte, Irvin, everyone, thank you so much for being here. We may not get to all your questions and your comments, but we are truly grateful that you're here, and we know that you will be conversing amongst yourself during the program. Victorious, always great to see you. Thank you for being here. Stain Seraphim, thank you for being here. Good evening to you, Amma Thomas. And let us see, Kern George. Thank you so much for being here. Tina Bell de Ramon, thank you for being here. Sandy Smith, Annette Phillip, and everyone else who is joining us on the Facebook Live. Continue the conversation. I will come back and try to take some of your comments. Noxie, Sandy, thank you. Michael Casimir, thank you for being here. So thank you guys for all being here today to be a part of this important conversation. Bolo, I see you. Alista Irish, in Claire. So thank you guys. I will come back and try to take some of your comments. But yes, so moving along, the mental health crisis. So based on everything that we have heard, all the theories, all the interviews, everything that has happened, what is your analysis of what is going on, Tad James? Because I think at this point, so much information has been presented to us. First of all, my head is spinning. And second of all, I don't know what direction to look to anymore because it is just too much information at this point. So with everything, because I know that both you and Dr. Wallace are keeping a very close eye, and we're grateful for that. You're keeping a very close eye on every aspect of this investigation. So what is your analysis? What have you concluded thus far, Tad?
Well, what have I concluded thus far? Simone, right now, you see that phrase about all hands on deck?
Mm-hmm.
No one set can do it now. Because in order to fight crime, you need intelligence. You understand? You need intelligence from the ground. You need, if it's with technology, whatever, you gain it on the other side of security. But you have to be connected to society. We have to focus solely right now on just putting everything forward on a proactive level and not a responsive level. We spend too much resources in responding to a lot of stuff that could be stopped beforehand. And I conclude right now, we may be the perfect, we have a big chance still. We have a big chance still. Some might call it narrow. I feel we have a big chance. Why I say big is because our communities are very much at reach, given the size and the population and where our island is set. Everyone is at reach. Everyone is touchable. Every purpose can be met. Every purpose can be promoted. We need to change the energy of what conversations comes on the radio. We need to report good things and not report bad things altogether at a higher percentage than, the negative. We need to create a more positive impact in society. So right now, I conclude, right now, we just have to structure is everything and start to structure a lot of our, how would I say it, from the legislators. First of all, it has to start up there. We must make a good examination of the different pockets in society that affect society where that needs urgent attention, and we must have a very viable, proactive process to combat it. So right now, we just have to think solely proactive. We have to stop it in the tracks right now and stop trying to put resources responding. Just stop, put the resources into prevention, not response. I don't want to go political because I see some people say I trying to go political. It's not. You have to understand is what how we interpret politics now has changed. But we're running under the leadership and guidance of legislators and you know people to run a country, and it trickles down to the common man. From up top, there should be they should be embracing their responsibility for better purpose, so to speak. I don't want to sound political, so I want to put it nice. Because I go political hard, but it connects to social life and everything at the end of the day. But it always starts political. I'm sorry, it doesn't start in the Catholic Church. You understand what I'm saying? The Catholic Church is begging for support from the same. You understand? So it has to start with who designs a culture and the economics of an island. So in a nutshell, I just praying, I conclude that now is the time for us to start to put things in perspective from a proactive point of view other than a reactive point of view. That's the nicest way I can say.
Yes, yes. And Dr. Triphi, I want to come to you for your thoughts.
We have to work together collectively.
Yeah, because I think what we always seem to find is that there's all this hoopla, there's all this action over an issue. And eventually, and I'm very sad to have to say it, eventually the search party has to be called off, right? So what are we going to go back to? Business as usual? Or are we going to look at the underlying problem? And that is one of the reasons we have you and Tad here, is to talk about recommendations. And once you respond, Lambi, I'll come over to you so we can open up the phone lines. But the underlying issues, why is there no strategy? We're not hearing about a strategy to combat mental health. We're not hearing about a strategy to ensure that this doesn't happen. So before we talk about that, Dr. Triphi, just give me, based on all the interviews you've dissected, based on how you've kept track of this from day one, what is your overall analysis of what is going on?
My clinical analysis is I grew up in Cottage, and there was a man in Cottage with a bobo on his leg, and he refused to go to the hospital. Years and years and years and years, he refused to go to the hospital. When you have a wound, you have to treat the wound. You can pretend the bobo is not there, but the bobo will not let you forget it is there. It won't let you forget it is there. Listen, I get it, we're a traumatized country on many levels. I'm not even going to talk about trauma that's been handed down to us post-slavery days and post the days of Dominica being used as a breeding farm, a human trafficking breeding farm, and all that kind of stuff does to DNA that gets transferred into people who are looking at little children on the street like raw meat, right? And who don't even have moral gates or any kind of biological gates to even prevent what's going on in their mind from spilling out into the whole culture. I'm talking about people who talk about little children on radios and all of that. All of this stuff is connected. We are traumatized. Look, Erica, I think some people are still in shock. Some people are still in shock about Erica. Maria, some of us still in shock. COVID, some of us are still in shock. The situation with Kanisha, the situation with Kanisha. Now, I think we thought, oh, Maria hit, we recovered, we're okay. Everything is back to normal. We back to work. We are not back to normal. We have a lot of work to do. There are a lot of things that didn't come back. There are a lot of things we lost that we didn't replace. There are a lot of vacuums. Nature doesn't like vacuums. It's going to put something in there for you if you do not put something in the hole. We have a big bubble that is severely infested, and it's showing itself in mental health problems. All the stuff we're talking about, gang stuff, all of that is mental health problems. Because these kids, their minds are not working properly to make proper decisions. These are kids who need therapy. They need a reset. What do you do with kids who are violating? They go to therapy on their way back to transition into the community. We cannot pretend they're not there. We cannot pretend we don't have these problems. We cannot. And it's going to keep, it's going to keep showing its ugly face. It's going to keep showing its ugly face. The other big problem that has paralyzed us is we became psychotic with politics. We decided that every problem in Dominica must be filtered through political lens. All of us have done it. It's a mistake. We have paralyzed Dominica. Leading party, opposition, all the other parties, all of us have contributed to this mess. If we would only all admit that I am also part of the problem, just, when you just erase a board, just erase the board because you have too much caution on the board, too much writing on the board. My brain is going zzz. It's too much. Erase the board. We have all participated. We have all participated in the government being like it is today. There are some things I want to say. Look, I'll say it on my platform. But there are ways that the opposition has participated in the government continuing to persist. We have to just own up to all of our responsibility. Once you do that, everybody's starting from a clean slate. All hands on deck. All you dirty, all your mother house, come and clean it. Everybody come and clean it. Remember, your parents wouldn't let just one come and clean it, except if your mother was, they needed some help themselves. All you dirty my house, Saturday morning, find yourself, come and clean it. Get up. Come and clean. Participate. It cannot be this business of like, they over there, all you. Not going to work. Not going to work. Not going to work. Okay? The situation with Kanisha, look, I heard her dad, Curtis, say something to the effect, essentially, that something was in the country, a pain, a big bobo. Bobo burst. The bobo burst. So we all have to step up and participate and clean it. It is so heart-wrenching for me, so heart-wrenching to see the state we're in. But it's a beautiful thing too, to see the state we're in, because then we know we have to do something about it. If you pretend you're not in a state, you're in a worse state, than if you see it. See it. And let's do stuff together about it. That partisan business, there's some things the government is doing that's okay. There's some that is bullshit. Straight up bullshit. And even if you love your pal rep, Moshe, your pal rep is not a little demigod. So you cannot just, everything your pal rep does is okay, although it's hurting your auntie over there. We have to do better on that. We have to do better. We have to do better. We say we want, and I know we need it. We need mental health services. We're on I don't know, is that Marwin Potence? People from back in the day. Marwin Potence is this old liquor house on the liquor pat fin, essentially, right? The foundation is rocking.
Rickety.
Rocking. The country, the soul of the country is like This is a dangerous point that we're in, that we're at, however you want to call it. And we will lose the Dominica we think we know or we knew if we don't all get a reset. So, if anything, you see all this confusion and obfuscation, and I want you to help me in the search now, but shoo away. Why are you taking video of me and I'm by Lyndhurst? I'm watching all of this stuff unfold. Why are we doing it? And tomorrow, come back. I need all of you to help. All of us have lost this kid. We've all lost her. Together, we have participated in losing her. We don't know where the rush she is right now. Nighttime taking. Looking about to be nighttime. Again. And we talking about all kind of just nonsense. I'm telling you, it's either bend or break. I don't see how we can proceed. I do not see how we can proceed thinking we can proceed with half of the little 25,000 out of the 50,000. That's still on the island. You are not using all of your resources. You like a damn little city, little villages, that have 50,000 people. You don't have people, Dominica. So if you're only using 1/3, Pascal, the rest, there's all these elderly centenarians, Noonie. Okay? How are you going to progress? What kind of progress are we going to make if we're using part of the population?
And Dr. Triphi, that is an excellent point, because that is where we're going. Yes, we have 100 and something police officers looking for this young girl out in Wana, Layu, every area that they're searching. But what are we doing about using other resources, such as psychologists, such as you? And I also want to make mention about a new service that is available right here in Dominica that Dr. Gina Leta has started. So I want to talk about the resources. And what we're going to do, we're going to go over further phone calls, open up the phone lines so that everyone can make their contribution. And then, Tad, I want to come over to you, because one of the very excellent points that I heard you raise on one of your vlogs is the fact that we need a national alert system. Why is there no text national alert system where when a crisis happens, we can simply send out a national alert, maybe even something like an Amber Alert for a missing child, which might have worked with the case of Kanisha? So I want to come back to you, Tad, for your views on that. I want to go over and take the calls, but before we do, I just want to remind everyone that you're listening to Roots Connections on Q with Simone, Mathieu, and today we are talking about securing our most precious resource, our most precious human resources, our children, our young people, protecting them from abuse, protecting them from, killing each other literally, and dealing with the mental health crisis, which often begins in young adulthood. So that is what we are talking about today. I'm going to come and take your Facebook Live comments, but let us open up the lines for your comments as well.
Roots Connection and Q. The numbers are 449-3095, 449-3096, 449-3097, 616-4257, 305-432-9624. Let me run those numbers again. 449-3095, 96 and 97, 616-4257. The international connection is 305-432-9624, and we're standing by for your calls.
Yes, and as we wait for your calls, we will take some Facebook Live comments. Alvin Thomas, always great to see you. He says, great discussion. Jackie Joseph, sad to hear about drugs, poor judgment that affect our youth. Andy Washington, thank you, Dr. Mathieu. Let's see. Al Benoit is covering his eyes. I'm not sure why. Stain Seraphin, please touch a bit on the mental health crisis in Dominica. Thank you for that, Stain. That is where we are touching on right now. In Claire, poverty culture. Andy Washington, Tad is not about solutions. He's a political hack and hatchet man. So, Tad, you might want to respond to that when I come back to you. In Claire, this is a multidiscipline problem solving situation. Kahina says, Tad is very intelligent person, and I think he is one of the few critical thinkers. Is there any way his thoughts can be utilized in Dominica? Great question, Kahina. Andy, don't you get it? Pay attention and use intelligence. Maury, Jules, whoa, bro. I think Tad talked for a lot of us. He hit both sides, red and blue. Eli Newton, not only touch on mental health, come up with solutions. Absolutely. That is exactly where we're going, Eli, whether it's be housing for them, professionals to work with them, prevention method is key. And Noxie Tad is saying the opposite to what he himself does on a daily basis. Let's see what else we have. Jared Dorset says, stop your nonsense. I'm not sure what you're referring to, Jared. Joseph, we need to put more effort in nurturing at the high school level, mentorship programs for males and females is needed. More focus on civic education and family life education. Let's take a comment from someone we have not yet heard from. Toya Joseph, true, you are so right. Slim Bedminster, well, we need to come and give some analysis. Then Mary Benjamin, the problem with Kenesha did not start on June 7th. I could not have said it better, Mary. June 7th, sadly but true. I myself are fed up. Let's see. Tina, oh yes. Nature always fills a vacuum, and the vacuum are there right in our faces. David Joseph Anna, the nurturing must begin from adolescence, and it must begin at home. Hence the reason why we must revert to being parents to our children instead of trying to be their best friend. Emma, yes, politics is a major contribution. And then she also says, erase the board and the unit and unite the nation. We are not emotionally mature and emotionally intelligent, sorely lacking. So I will come back and take more of your comments. So please keep the conversation going on the Facebook Live. So Tad, let me come over to you if you want to make any comments on the Facebook post that was included. And if not, you don't have to, as we continue to talk about the national alert system that I thought was a brilliant idea you presented on one of your programs.
Well, you see, Simon, you see, anytime age brings wisdom, and anytime you become someone, you enter in public life. You know, I do my little vlogs. Once you process, your mind processes your journey, and you find your purpose, you have to first accept the fact that you're going to get people who don't agree with you.
Absolutely.
And part of maturing in that field is learning to endure criticism. So someone giving their opinion doesn't necessarily mean I have to respond.
Good.
We can read it. I'm glad you read it out loud, because there are still people that might feel contrary to what you said. So what is important tonight is not responding to people who might have negative vibes towards you. I appreciate them. You know why I appreciate them? They could be doing something else tonight. But guess what? They're here.
Absolutely.
That's all I need. However you process it, that's your democratic right to process it how you feel like, based on your intellectual level. But guess what? You're here.
Absolutely.
You voted us. And thanks for being on the live tonight. We
Yes.
appreciate your
We
comments.
appreciate everyone who's on the
We take
line.
note of what you say.
This is how we do it.
And yes, and this forum is yeah, is very mature. So we respond
Yeah.
to things in a responsible fashion where we do going to challenge your thought process of how you interpret things. Information comes from different angles on here. There's something you might learn, there might something you might disagree to. This is what democracy is all about.
Absolutely.
To each his own.
Mhm.
And
And
then
I
this
will leave that there. So I've
communication.
grown to that level where I'm not going to attack anybody.
Absolutely. Yes, Dr. Triphi, you were saying
I'm
something.
saying
I'll come right back to you.
I'm saying this is what communication is, where I appreciate your perspective. You have every right to it. Why would you think exactly like I think? Why should you? Why should you have a problem because you have different thoughts? You're just seeing it in a different way. And it's okay. At the end, I choose, I decide. We're in a democracy. So if more of us choose way number A, we go with way number A. That doesn't mean way number B is horrible. All it
Mhm.
means is more people chose way number A today. Circumstances next week might change, and B fits better, they go with B. So we have to learn to, remember how to appreciate each other as our individual self. Our feelings too tender. A lot of us, we fighting, making noise on Facebook,
Mhm.
about madness. Our goal, we say, is to make Dominica prosper. We get sidetracked with our feelings. And we run down the rabbit hole, lambasting each other. What did we accomplish? These are the things I'm saying, like grow up, erase the board, and start over. Start over, check each other, yes, but with love and respect. All men have their right to have their own thoughts and their feelings. Why are you trying to tell me how to think and feel? Who do you think you are? Like
Mhm.
there's ways to disagree. There are ways to disagree and still maintain your friendship. And
Yes,
still,
Dr. Triphi, let's take a call. I'm sorry to have to cut you off. We have a call coming in. Thank you, Dr. Triphi.
that's
Good evening,
fine.
Paul. Thank you. Thanks for joining us. Go ahead, please.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
I would just like to commend Dr. Simone and Dr. Wallace and Thaddeus for doing an excellent job.
Thank you.
And I must say that yes, I am guilty of contributing to the political dialogue on Facebook. And then I think a couple of years ago, I'm like, what am I doing? Like, this is going absolutely nowhere.
Mhm.
There's so many issues to attend to in the nation. And so what I did, I channeled that and I formed the Dominica Garden Club.
Oh,
And a
nice.
couple times people have come in there and tried to ask political questions. I will literally delete that button, use the delete button and delete the comment. Not because they shouldn't say it or they don't have a right, but because we created such a happy place. Because in Dominica Garden Club, we come together, we grow, we
Mhm.
eat, we talk about health, we talk about healing ourselves. Recently, I founded the Margaret Mental Health and Awareness Club
Mm.
on Facebook because I saw about since in January somewhere there, like we were going down a decline because when I visited Dominica in December, I saw the situation was very hostile. And I had been there right after Maria and I never witnessed that. And I go home like up to 4 times a year and I
Mhm.
had never seen that. But when I went in December, it was like something had changed.
Mhm.
And I couldn't wait to leave. And I had never felt about Dominica like that.
Hmm.
So when I came back, I spoke to some friends and we said, yes, mental health issue is a problem. We got to tackle it. Now, I'm just a nurse. I don't know about mental health. So I said, let me form the group. There got to be people out there that's just going to come in and put in their information and start talking. So that's what we're trying to do in Margaret Mental Health. And it's also about healthy living. Like, how do we feed our body? Because mental health has to do with your eating. And one of the problems I saw in Dominica is high rates of obesity and everything, which Dr. Wallace can probably go into and talk about how that links, to mental health. So I just want to commend you all on the program. Yes, I was guilty, but I channeled that energy. And I am like asking my fellow citizens to like channel their energy. We are such a brilliant set of people. We come out here and we are always at the top.
Absolutely.
Let's do that in our country.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, caller. Thank you for your contribution. And Dr. Triphi and Tad, she raised a fantastic idea of channeling that energy. So we're going to go towards that. But Tad, I want to come back to you and tell us about the text alert system you were talking about.
Well, Simon, I mean, experience is before I left Dominica, to be honest. I mean, I used to visit Canada, United States since I was a little boy. So I was in the environment, but at that time, how do I process, as a young boy, checking these things. But now I'm here living in the US and I see what I emphasized earlier on, a lot of proactive measures in place before things could get worse. And to get straight to the point, text alert, Amber alert. How do you, regardless of whatever you put together, how do you make it reach your consumers if your consumers are not on a reachable platform? How do you reach the farmer in the middle of his field to tell him there are 30 escaped prisoners hiding in the bush, armed and dangerous, managed to take some rifles from the armory in the prisons, if there is one. So be on the lookout. Prevention is better than cure. No alert, farmer life is compromised, safety is compromised. Someone might come there, shoot him, take his money, take his key for his vehicle to continue their fleeing process. Only if he had known. Information is primary. The dispensing of information is key. Maria should have taught us that once and for all. Our level of preparedness based on information reaching the bystander was very low. Priority number one, before anything else is formulated, knowing, like G.I. Joe, I grew up watching G.I. Joe. Knowing is half the battle.
Tad, we have a
the
question.
difference between cartoons before and now?
Yeah, Tad, hold that thought. We have a question. A caller. We'll come right back to you.
Good evening, caller. Thanks for joining us. Go ahead, please.
Good evening, panelists. I must say that's a topic. I used to be a Boy Scout in Dominica and I used to interact with a lot of children. I used to be around them and it was a pleasure. And one thing, when you show children love, they intend to respect you. And if you grow as an adult, they're still reminding you when you used to be around them. We as fathers, mothers, I realize we get selfish. We don't want to provide a future for our generation to come, the future that we did not have. We don't want to pass it on to our children. We want to be selfish. You could imagine this child in Wana, a place like Dominica have around 70,000 people, have to passing around and asking people to adopt her. In the time of this, for everybody open their doors for that child.
Right.
When that child come out of school, she can go by Tom, Dick, and Harry and get food to eat, play with the children, and even she can even end up sleeping by these people. But now everybody's selfish. We don't want to show that kind of love to each other, and we blame in the government, but we have to blame ourselves. We say these people mad, but we're more mad than them. When we see our government treating us, we have to beg in for jobs. We have to work in 2.5 hours to buy 1 gallon of gas.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to vote in them over and over. That's a state of madness. When we have a government, we have a search going on. And we have a government that continues telling lies, misleading the people. Let them waste time somewhere else when they could have get to somewhere else. And knowing the child is in the bush, we still continue supporting these people. That's a state of madness. So madness is not the man just walking on the road and shaking his head. When we know something is evil, we support it. That's a state of madness. God bless Dominica. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, caller. Thank you for your contribution. We have another call? Okay, good. So, Tad, back to you. We're talking about G.I. Joe.
Well, yeah, like I said, knowing is half the battle. So it's very critical given our how Dominica is set up in terms of our vulnerability to natural disasters. Volcanic island, 9 active volcanoes in the center of the Caribbean chain, hurricane events, most likely to hit us practically, we're almost on target, dead west from where they develop. We are close to a fault line to do with earthquakes. We are very mountainous, so excess precipitation, high rainfall can lead to mudslides based on how we build on a lot of hills, and our vulnerability level is extremely high. That's one fact we cannot change. How do we work around the fact? Get information to get people to safety when events occur. End of story. Use technology to do it. It is for everybody. Keeping one person alive is critical. That should be priority number one. Is the dispensation of information should be priority number one in Dominica. We'll build up in after we have information. You cannot build a house without a plan. You will get cookie bins, it will fall, then you'll go back to and then try to put something on paper to see how we can prevent it from happening the next time. Information is always key to be able to be proactive in a society. We are challenged, we have faced consequences like never before, and there's nothing out of the box that should tell me that should not be priority number one in Dominica. We are challenged with our tourism based on what we promote, ecotourism, however you want to call it. Very dense forest, high risk. While enjoying nature, it's very riskful in Dominica in a certain manner, if you understand what I'm saying, based on our density. Let's look at how long we're looking for the little child based on the density. So, information is key. Had people gotten a text that in 5 minutes of an abducted or missing child, you would have wake up in your bed like I wake up in America when they say tornado.
Yes. And Amber Alert wakes me up all the time.
That's so irritating.
Yes.
You must watch your phone. Even to mute it, you get the message there. Knowing is half the battle. What do? Tornado, you go downstairs and continue sleeping. You can sleep. Tornado can come in your sleep. But your chance of survival is 95% based on where you ended up sleeping because of alert. And the international community is looking at that level of how responsible we are in structuring, keeping people alive first. And these are significant factors in formulating prevention efforts. And basic, they should be basic, but they're not there. So it looks like it's like a treasure to Dominica when it do happen. It's a big thing that should be basic protocol. And I urge the people responsible for that to ride on that as fast as they can. It will save us from misusing resources trying to respond.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, excellent point.
In a nutshell, that's what it is. We can go on and on and on and chop it up.
Mm-hmm.
But I will leave it at that for now based on time and everything.
Yeah, excellent point. And Dr. Triphi,
Yeah.
I want to come to you, but I think what we're seeing is resources is not just police resources to look for the young lady, right? When we think of resources, all I keep hearing about is the search party. Yes, that's very important, and we should continue looking for, and we should be continuing to pray for a miracle. But we have to think beyond the police department as the resource. What are the lessons that should have been learned from what is going on now? What will we take away from this to ensure that it doesn't happen again? So, Dr. Triphi, I want to come over to you. Do we have a call?
Yes.
Yes. So we have a call, Dr. Triphi. 1 minute, please.
Good evening, caller. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening to the guests and members. Fireman touching base. Good evening to Dominic. I call it River Nickel.
Good evening, Fireman. Thank you.
And the caller said earlier on, it's good to disagree and agree because everybody has a voice and I love that. But you know something, well and truly, we have a problem facing in River Nickel right now. As I said, people call it Dominic, I call it River. I call it River Nickel because why? We have 365 rivers. This is a mountainous island. It's a tropical island. It's an agricultural island. It's a rich island. It's a garden, not a farm or a farm and whatsoever. It's a garden. You have all different resources. But anyhow, to the program. Sister, I don't know if you have a doctor there, right?
Yes.
There is me.
Yes, we're here.
There,
yes,
right?
yes, we do.
Okay, sister, listen carefully. Let me tell you something, right? We have to, you see the Father say, create us now in his own image and likeness. He gives us dominion over everything, but mankind now gets shut of the glory because you know the life we live in among mankind. But really and truly, we have an issue in River Nickel where a fella, right, a man or a boy, or whatsoever he be, and I know I have sense in my head, I don't have no space in heaven, I don't go in heaven, but I'm telling you, I know life and nobody can tell me what I know. Would you bless no one can? So we have a problem at passing out going on in River Nickel where a fella, right, take a child from whosoever, if it's his family, and based on what I hear his uncle say, the fella matched his uncle to take the child whatsoever and go with the child, right? Me myself know for a fact, if Mr. Mad, I don't know how much mad is having the world again, but if that one mad, I myself am a madman because one knows I talking I am mad already. Because I know for a fact, Mr. matched his uncle and take the child and go wheresoever he go with the child. And I myself know for a fact as a Rasta man, Mr. no go no bush in child. Mr. Go no bush in no child. Mr. go somewhere with child. But what I'm really saying there, everybody responsible for their own action. The man put a darkness in our country. Ready man take his own mind. The man set up, in other words, the man create his problem for himself. Which his uncle say, the brother say, he want a child, he want a virgin to drink the blood and to eat half of the body. Right? So you're looking for a virgin. No. Any human being that mad and crazy, how you can be so mad and crazy to want to get a child to drink the blood and eat half of the body for to be a madman? When you take a machete and machete your family, your uncle, you're a madman. No, let's get it real. That man there is not nothing to do with government and police and whosoever. No. His mother and his father, that's the problem right now because they know about the child. You know what I'm telling you? And we have a serious problem in that little country because why? Everybody playing politics and everything, but I'm telling people in River Nickel right now, that is the fireman voice here, right? If you see, man don't prepare themselves for what are going to come in that world here today and in the Caribbean, a lot of people are going to fall long and die because people too bad mind, evilous, malicious, malfunction, too much and desolate with too malicious in that world here. It's time for man to find themselves. Know your, in other words, know your value.
Yes, thank you so much.
Government, before I run, government employ by the people who vote for government. No politician would never ever employ themselves. And no politician can employ themselves. And when you see the voice of the people employ you, government, people have to respect that and work with it and do what you have to do. Michael, I have so much to say about anyhow.
Yes, thank you so much, Fireman.
This country is my place. Nobody will love River Nickel more than me, no matter who that comes. If anybody come leader of the country, I respect that and I run with the flow. I do what I have to do for my country and for my people. No man can bring me. Up and running, Fireman Rain. That's the voice of the real fireman.
Yes,
Bless up.
yes.
Keep
Thank
that for
you.
life.
Thank you, Fireman. Yeah, so Dr. Chife, I was going to come to you, but before I do, I mentioned before of a new mental health and wellness service right here in Dominica, because I think what we're starting to see is where the government is lacking in terms of pulling the resources together. We have to do it ourselves. And I know one of the things that you talk about in your social media programs is the need to attack this problem, this mental health crisis that we now have on our hand on several levels: the community level, the individual level, and the institutional level. But before we do, I just want to talk about this new service right here in Dominica. So Dr. Gina Leta, many of us know her as a very brilliant calypso writer. She's actually the one who wrote Tasha P's songs the both times that Tasha P won the Monarch. So she wrote Let Children Be Children. What an appropriate song for what we're experiencing right now with child abuse. And she also wrote Frenemy. But she is so much more than a calypso writer. So Dr. Gina Leta, she's a general practitioner with a special interest in mental health and wellness. She is also a certified Zumba instructor. She recently opened Pristine Health and Wellness, which is a holistic medical clinic on Church Street, right in the heart of Roseau. She does medicals and mental health screenings. Listen very carefully. And she pairs her patients with medical specialists, mental health counselors, psychologists, psychiatrists, based on their need. She has a good network of medical professionals inside and outside of Dominica. And why outside of Dominica is important, Dr. Triphi, I think we are seeing the reasons because, again, there is too much stigma attached when people are trying to seek mental health care for themselves. So she has professionals inside and outside of Dominica, so people are able to have consultations and therapy in the privacy of the telehealth room at Pristina. It could be a private video consultation with just the patient and the medical professional, or their families could join on the video conference. It's a really good idea because it gives people more options in medical and mental health care, and also for people who are private and don't want to see a professional on island. Pristine Health also has a wide range of on-site therapies for body and mind, including mindfulness and meditation, yoga, Thai yoga, Zumba, dance and movement therapy, music therapy, Reiki, medicinal massage, personal training, and more. And you can visit them on 17 Church Street. So again, 17 Church Street, Pristine Health and Wellness, or take down the number 767-285-9911. So again, 767-285-9911. And Dr. Gina Leta, thank you very much for providing us with this information for the program, and also for having the presence of mind to see the need in Dominique for mental health counseling, not only on the island, but via telehealth options where you can be speaking to someone privately all the way in another country. So Dr. Triphi, I know you want to add to some of what we are talking about right here.
Yeah, I think this is a very comprehensive mental health program. Very comprehensive. You know, I like to say to my people back home who our first explanation, one of the quickest explanations we offer for mental health problems is they put something on him.
Mm-hmm.
Or you have a devil in him. Mr. is a devil. You know, they put something in their drink, you know. Look, I am not a demon slayer. I don't know about that piece. What I'm saying is, how come when we give medication and therapy to other people here with the same symptoms, they get better.
Mm-hmm.
How come theirs is not the devil out on them? They get better. I'm a Christian. I love prayer, but we are body, mind, and spirit. So praise for the spirit part. Handle your business with your spirit part. What about your mental? The body is not the mental health part, you know. The mental has its place. And I prefer even to say brain health, because for a lot of us, it's just the way our brain works. So it's not as if your parents did something horrible or you are a bad person. Sometimes it's just the way your brain works. And once we understand that and accept it, we have to accept it. It cannot be, it's just Dominica alone, the devil running wild. And every other country where their people have these symptoms, they give them medication if they need it. They give them therapy if they need it. People pay for therapy. Some people have their therapists on speed dial.
Mm-hmm.
All the best functioning professionals you see out there making all their money, they have their coaches. They're paying how much money for an executive coach to help them clear their minds. So how come it's us alone that have sukunya drinking our blood?
Mm-hmm.
So all of us, again, you know, all of us have to do better. Like Google, read more. If you don't understand it, ask a question. I understand that many people don't understand how Mr. could do that now, or how that person could do that now. That doesn't make sense. Why they so lazy now? Why the child being so bad now? It's wicked, they're wicked. I'm telling you, how come ours is wicked and bad and possessed, and other people, they go back to work. They go back to work making all their money because they take care of their mental health. Okay? And there are some systems that are too expensive for us, regular people. That's for the higher level of care of people where the home, they cannot keep them in the home anymore because they're on the street, they're threatening their family, they're threatening themselves, they're so distressed, they want to hurt themselves. That has to go outside of the family. That has to go outside of the family. But on a regular day-to-day basis, I'm telling you, we are all traumatized on some level. I think most adults, we got to go back and rescue the child in us.
Mm-hmm.
All of us go through a little shas. By the time you reach 30, you have gone through a little shas that you need to talk to somebody about. That maybe that's getting in your way. Okay, and we have these resources now. Back in the day, we didn't have it. All we had was Dr. Taid. You just go up. I'm psychiatric unit. Taid,
Your injection.
Yeah, that's all we had. We have more resources now. What I'm saying, there are things that cost too much for many people. You know, the safety. When the safety issues start with the threats and the seeing things and hearing voices. That is a higher level of care that is going to need our governmental institutions. And I'm saying that now, but I know a lot of our people, because again, we're filtering stuff through politics. Do y'all think the Labour Party is going to be the party forever and ever until the end of time? It's not about party. It's not about party. There was a time when nobody thought the Labour Party would ever win. I grew up in the 70s.
Freedom.
Yeah, when Mamo was it.
Mm-hmm.
The Labour Party didn't have a chance. You know, so we have to wake up is what it is, you know, really. And remember. Wake up, remember. All of us, though, we have to wake up together. We got to wake up together. We don't have time to wait for the people that just want to sit down and pay. Let's wake up. All of us, man, all of us come from the Creator. We have the same juice in us. You just use your juice in your way. Wake up to realize what is my juice meant for in Dominica and start doing it. Your juice might be roasting corn by the roadside and you have the best corn by the roadside. Everybody's there, they come in, you know, for their corn. You understand? Everybody has their own gift, but we can't be blinded by these shenanigans. It's keeping Dominica hostage. We are keeping Dominica hostage, and we have to wake up and stop it. Wake up and stop it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, let's go over to you, Tad. Any thoughts you want to share at this point?
Well, man, I'm listening to Dr. Wallace, and she's so right on target with everything, you know. And the whole idea is right now. How do we put all that into effect? What
Mm-hmm.
formula do we have collectively going forward? Everybody on a radio station voicing their opinion or their interpretation of things and everything. But right now, we reach a stage where we need to be a little more collectively efficient
Mm-hmm.
and be able, in our collectiveness, be able to condense and execute. There's so much theory out there without practice. We're overwhelmed and overburdened with a lot of theory and different perspectives on things, but we have zero action. And every angle of problem comes upon us daily, and everything. The problem is action, collective, responsible, effective action. Bipartisan, they say about politics. It is what it is in that Commonwealth. It will change on its own cost based on a different approach we're going to use psychologically to change it. Practice is what changes your misconception of a certain theory to do with politics. When you get engaged, practically, that theoretical motivation by one person say A, that's going to become irrelevant. So it's very critical with all the different forums that you have, Q95, TBS Radio, Kyrie FM. It's very critical that we come together and put it into practicality. Is the solution. We're not going nowhere. All ethics on the board, all perspectives on board. Brilliant people. Some we agree with, some we don't agree with. That is what we need. There's a conversation. That means there's a conversation and there's purpose. If you don't have something that counteracts something, there's no purpose, you know. That's life. It's a negative and positive that makes a cell battery. Dominica needs to become a big, charged cell
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in order for us to give light to our nation.
Yeah.
That's where it is. That's we're at the crossroads now. And right now, if we don't move, we're not waiting for superiors to move. Everybody has a responsibility. Every civilian has a responsibility for us to try something. It's our land, it's our purpose. We need to activate. Everybody needs to do some self-reflection. Ask yourself, what's their purpose? Let's bring all them purposes together and let's be a model society for the rest of the world. It's a college, it's a university campus. Dominica is a Harvard. 50-something thousand people, that's a Harvard. That's a Ross University, a DeVry. It's reachable for education, just like an educational institution. That's why we have to put it in perspective first, you know, to get motivated to start to attack. We're not far from each other. We think so. We are just a college campus. We are just a university in terms of quantity. We have to find a way to come together and be of purpose and put a lot of things to rest that are going to just dismantle us as a people. For real.
Yeah, Tad, very well.
That's how I see it.
Yeah, very well said. And you know, one of our callers put it very well. She said, channel our energy because we're upset and we are rightfully upset. This should have never happened, right? Kian should have received the mental health counseling, the mental health treatment a long time ago. I mean, when was that post made? Back in 2021 when someone said, look at how he's walking around. How many videos did we see of him? He was crying for help. So we have a right to be upset about the situation. But I like that our caller said that how can we channel that energy from creating all those theories, and it seems like it just keeps spiraling. It just keeps spiraling, and I'm hearing about I'm drinking blood from a virgin, and eating a human body. I think we are spending too much time on theories that are not going to get us anywhere. So why don't we channel that energy, that anger that we are feeling, and turn it into something positive? That is why I believe Tad said it very well, that we have to use that energy to now come together. Look at how that group was formed, the Margaret Mental Health Group. Can you form a group where you are? Can you start a conversation on what you as a community can do to identify those who are vulnerable in your area, and then reach out to Dr. Gina Leton right here in Dominica? Reach out to Dr. Triphi, and Dr. Triphi is going to give us her contact information in a little while. If you don't want to reach out to Dr. Leton, we have one overseas and one right here. Reach out to them and say, you know what? I think we have a problem on our hand. And what can we do? Maybe you cannot pay for the counseling services, but maybe Dr. Triphi can offer you a free resource online that you can look to get some guidance, so you know how to proceed in that situation. So yes, we have a right to be upset, but is it serving us any purpose to continue to just generate these theories that have been circulating for way too long? Or does it make more sense to take that energy, look at our community, look at the people in our families, and figure out what can we do to ensure that another key and situation does not come about? Tad, did you have a point that you wanted to raise?
Yes, and very critical to you putting all these professionals on a platform to be at reach. Again, knowing is half the battle. What I want to encourage the professionals to do is do better promotional tactics.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the Carol Reserve, take a piece of plywood, just like they do it during political season. Put up their profile, their service, and a contact number.
Brilliant.
Engage young guys to go house to house to stick flyers in your door. We're saying that here. There are a lot of people that are not hearing us here. There are a lot of people that would never get the information. Dissemination of information, dispatching of information is critical to the success of anything. So even from a professional perspective, while they are in the professional realm and they know how to solve problem, there's another problem in that they're not strategically distributing information for people to know them. It's not about Q95 and call Matt or let Matt read your ad because the hot cities are highly listened to. You have to invest in making people know you.
Mm-hmm.
In Dominica, even on Facebook, the only flyers I rarely see for CO.
Mm.
You only see flyers pop up, TJ Slim, TJ MG for CO. No one then I would see Viva Nayoka with her nails. Click, service line. The service line sector of promotion, as far as their strategy in approaching it to dispatch information, is very weak. They only use in media platform. There are other critical platforms you can use. Signage is critical in promotion and dispatching information. So I would encourage all the people coming into that really find that there's a need for certain critical purposes to also look at critical strategies to making as much people know as possible, exhausting all platform of getting the information out there. Invest to make back your money. Don't be pity man on your cash. You have to let it go. It will hurt in the first instance, the returns might be so drastic, she might have to go back to Dominica as a support system because of the amount of cases. One person might not be able to do that. She might have to fly down. We have direct flight from Miami. No, it's just you jet down for a week, you deal with 60, you jet back up. Support system. Network is key. Network is key. And we're not far from network. Technology has opened us up. Praise God, we have one flight a day. Give thanks to the administration for initiating that. When it good, say good. We have to use it wisely. She could have been called on the scene for that last incident based on the kind of information and the way she processes everything from a professional perspective. Did anybody call you, man?
Nope. Sorry, I didn't want to answer for you, Dr. Triphi.
Get my point?
But I know nobody called you.
No, man, I'm just saying. So we have to look at those things too. So Gina, I would encourage Gina. Gina is my classmate from Convent Prep.
Yes.
So I'm very proud of where she reached. Right, I felt very, very proud tonight. So no people I see the one next bench in their little blue skirts at a level where I can say yes, Gina Bus. And everybody should be looking to say, yes, that one did it. Yes, that one did it. We can do it collectively. Yes, we can do it. I see I'm hoping in Dominica because I know what I was, I know how I grew up, and I know everybody else can grow up. So I say I hope.
Yes, and this is only the beginning of the
when I first shifted, I see something, but trust me, deep down inside, I say I hope.
Yes, this is the beginning of the conversation. So thank you so much, Tad, for your contribution. And again, just to give you Dr. Gina Letaz's phone number again, 767-285-9911, 767-285-9911. And of course, you can always email me if you're a mental health counselor and you're interested in being a part of this movement at pushpast10@gmail.com, pushpast10@gmail.com. Dr. Triphi, let me come over you for your final thoughts, and I hope that you can provide us with some contact information for anyone who might be interested in being in touch with you.
What I'm going to say is this. There's no one silver bullet to any problem. This is such a big problem. And because it's such a big problem, all of us have to step up to the plate and participate in fixing the problem. All of us, right? I understand that we have a long record for now of really going at each other and hurting each other verbally, but I know that we have common ground. I know at the very least, the through line among all of us is that we want Dominica to do well. We want Dominica to do well. So if we can just grab onto that, we've got a place to start. Okay, and our methods might be different, but I think if we approach it from that perspective of we're being curious, you see, Thaddeus talked about the Amber Alert system. So we're curious instead of being judgmental and judging, why not, why. Become curious and talk more about potential solutions. This is where success happens. This is where success happens because nobody is always in agreement. But you look for what we have in common and where we agree, and we start there. That's what I got to say about that. And I'll be saying a lot more on my platform because I am not stopping talking about this.
Yes, and tell us about your platform, where we can find you on Facebook Messenger, email address.
Okay, so go to drtriphi.com and you'll find all of these links to where I am. Okay, I'm on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. Tomorrow night, Dr. Simone is actually going to come.
Oh boy.
Transforming Trauma podcast and share some of her travel therapy. I'll tell you all more about travel therapy tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
And we'll have a healing conversation, I hope, as well, processing some of this. And I mean, I know how great my people are. You know, I think that's why it hurts me so much. Because I'm like, what in the Sam hell is going on here? You know, I know how awesome we are. And I know how gifted we are. I'm saying, everybody, you know, all of us have to do a little health check every now and then. Your car has to get serviced. Dominica just hasn't, in a way, been serviced for a while. So with
Yeah.
all of these problems, the car breaking down, we're breaking down. So we got to come on now, apply the resources, all of us, shine the little baby up because she needed real bad right now.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's Dr. Triphi, DRTRIPHI.com.
com.
So DR
DRTRIPHI.com.
Say the whole thing. Say the whole thing.
www. My kid is like, my children say, Mom, why are you going old school? Why you have to say www? It's
Old school.
www.drtriphi.com. Okay.
Yes, to reach Dr. Triphi. So, Dr. Triphi and Tad, thank you so much for your contribution to the program. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, everyone who joined us on Facebook. Havis Badui, I see you. So, thank you for being here, and thank you for the ongoing conversations that was going on the Facebook Live. Pyro Davidson, great to see you on the Facebook Live. So, thank you, everyone, for your contribution on the Facebook Live program. Oma Monell, great to see you. So again, thank you for being here. Glenda Shillingford, as always, thank you for being here. So as we come to the end of the program, as we wind down the program for this evening, I hope that you got some benefit from being here with us, that we have the work to do. We have to think of resources beyond police resources. We have to be able to bring the professionals together to ensure that we do not have another Kanisha Etienne situation. We continue to pray for her safe return. We continue to pray for a miracle. And we also must engage our professionals with regards to the senseless murders of our young men. 10 has to be the number for the year. This cannot continue to happen. So again, this has been Roots Connections on Q. I am Simone Mathieu, and it has been great being here with you. Join us again in 2 weeks and keep it locked on Q95 FM, the big station, Q95DA.com for the best in programming, as well as any missed episodes of the program, as well as following us on Q95 FM radio and Push Past 10 on Facebook, as well as Q95 FM radio, Q95 FM radio on YouTube. So we will continue to explore, in particular, concrete and practical economic opportunities, because as we can see, that is what is needed, especially as it relates to our young men. So we will continue to explore concrete and practical economic opportunities for financial independence and provide hope and inspiration, especially for our young people, to provide the direction that they need for those next steps. We will also look at emerging careers. We will look at opportunities to earn income, especially in the virtual world. So the work has just started. There is lots to be done. And as always, I am grateful for everyone who continues to reach out with a suggestion, with wanting to be a part of the program, wanting to be a part of the movement. So again, thank you for being here. It was wonderful being here with you. I fly back to Atlanta on Sunday. Tears. I'm sad, but it'll be okay. I'll be back. And it was great being here.
Come back up.
Sad you miss me. It has been great being here.
Yeah. Come back up.
Yes. Good night, Mr. G and the Q95 family. Sherwin, thank you. Lambi, thank you for keeping us on the console. So everyone, have yourself a wonderful and pleasant evening. Until we see you again next time, you have yourself a restful night. Good night.
Good night, Lambo.
Thank you, guys.
Night. Bless up.
All right, take care.
Yo! Rastafari.